guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'll apologise if you hear any squeaky noises right on cue there, because I've got little Heidi sat underneath me, just kind of on my lap here, because she's woken up. But I wanted to film my first week postpartum update. If I don't film it now, I don't know when we'll get the little chance, because she is just awake so much more now in the day. Now she's kind of like 4 weeks, and she's definitely a bit more aware and is awake even though she doesn't need feeding or anything like that. So apologies if you keep hearing these little squeaky noises, but if you haven't watched my labour and delivery video, do watch that one first, because that'll give you context to exactly what I'm talking about today, because the birth itself was not as planned. We ended up having to go into theatre, and it was not at all what I had imagined, but that kind of caused the foundations to how my recovery went and how our postpartum updates went. So starting off with week 1, I spent the first 2 days in hospital. The first day, like, you are absolutely, the first day you are absolutely like, you're just a potato, you can't move. I had a catheter in, so I didn't even need to pee. You are literally bound to that bed, and you can't do a thing, you can't get up, you can't do anything. So that definitely kind of affected my first couple of days. So nothing really changed in the first full day, it was just, I was bedbound. On day 1, I also had a cannula in my arm, and it was giving me pain relief whilst still in the delivery suite, because then they moved you up into the ward. But my mum and dad visited the delivery suite, and so did Rich's mum and dad that evening too. No, Rich's mum and sister, to make sure we were okay and to meet little Heidi as well. I also had fluids put in through my cannula as well, because I lost a lot of water, I was very dehydrated. So I had kind of fluids put in as well to just get my levels back up to normal. And then they moved me on to the ward at 8 o'clock that evening, which I gave birth to her. She was delivered at 9:20, and then at 8 o'clock that evening I was moved onto the ward, which I shared with another woman. She'd also had a section as well, so we were both on the ward there. She had had it a few days before. I think she was already 2 days in. So we were there, and then Rich had to leave at 9 o'clock at night, which was the hardest part, because I was bedbound, I couldn't get up. So if Heidi started crying or anything like that, the midwives came in to check me and to check her, because obviously like nappy changes and stuff I couldn't do, because I literally couldn't stand up or anything. So that was really, really hard, but I was so tired. Not that I got much sleep, I think I only got like 2 hours sleep that night, but you are just kind of laid in the bed, and I had loads of like food and stuff. Rich bought loads of goodies, my mum and dad bought loads of goodies up as well. So I had lots to eat and drink, but it was really hard not being able to move or anything. But we had lots of skin on skin, and we tried to establish breastfeeding as well, which was difficult because she latched on the first time after I gave birth, but after then she just didn't. So I had to like hand express as well, which I'll get onto in a little bit. But obviously Rich left at 9, which was really hard. But the midwives came around every 2 hours or to 3 hours to check my obs, to make sure that my levels were fine. And they give you like a buzzer, so if you want anything or need anything, you just give them a buzzer. And because I was bedbound, I did buzz them quite a lot, because I just couldn't do anything, and like if I was uncomfortable, I had to buzz them to help me move, like maneuver and stuff. And so that night I remember having really bad like shoulder pain, like in between my 2 shoulders, and I buzzed them to just say like it was really painful, and they gave me some morphine, and then it clonked me out for a little bit. So with that, because obviously like Heidi was crying and I couldn't go over and pick her up, so I had to buzz them and just say like, she's really upset, I'm not sure if she just kind of wants affection or if she needs a nappy change or needs feeding, I wasn't sure. So they actually took her into their office to calm her down whilst I got some sleep, because obviously she was just laying there crying and I couldn't do anything with her. So they took her in. I got a little bit of sleep, which was amazing. The midwives honestly are so amazing. Like, I couldn't do the job that they do, but they are phenomenal. And the team, I was so looked after, which was just, I couldn't thank them enough. So that was kind of day one, like including having her, and then from my labour and delivery story, this kind of continues from that. And then so day two, they took my catheter out in the morning, and then when Rich got to the hospital, they basically said to me that you'll need to pee by 12 o'clock midday, and you should know when you need to go, so just let us know when and we'll give you a hand. So Rich came to the hospital, and I think because my body had stopped telling me when I needed the toilet, suddenly I just had these really bad contraction-like pains, and they were so intense. And so it turned out from that I actually just had a full bladder and I needed to empty my bladder. So I had to be kind of, well, they tried to get me up out of bed, but I just couldn't. It hurt so much. So they basically just kind of lifted my bum up, and I had to pee on the bed, but in like a little kind of, I don't know, like it looked like a sick bowl thing where you like puke into. It's the same thing for when you pee, which wasn't glamorous, but the process isn't glamorous at all. But it was the weirdest things, having these like contractions again, and then suddenly being in so much pain because your body forgets to tell you that you needed to pee. But that emptied my bladder out, and then from then on it told me when I needed to go to the toilet. But it was painful, and then later that afternoon I needed to go to the toilet again, but Rich was able to actually help me up out of bed and went to the toilet with me and helped me get on the toilet and then get off and stuff, which was amazing. But the way that I was walking after having a section, it was like I was 80 years old. It was so weird and so painful as well, but I was also pleased to be able to get up, even if it was just slightly awkwardly. Being able to actually go to the toilet myself was so much better. Sorry, my camera battery died, so I thought I'd just whack in my spare one. Hopefully this has got enough battery to get me through the video. Where was I? So on the second day, my mum and dad visited the hospital as well after they finished work, which was lovely. They bought some more goodies for me as well. I was like really craving apple juice, so they got me loads of that and like loads of chocolate and stuff. And then also my friend Lucy came up to see me and also to meet Heidi, which was amazing. It's so nice having visitors. I know that like some people don't like having visitors in hospital, but for me it just made me feel like it was just so nice to have people come and make the effort to see me, make sure I was okay, and also it was just nice to have like normal conversation as well. My mum and dad said that like on the first day when they saw me, like after I gave birth to her, they literally came in about like 11:30. They said that I was like grey because I looked so dead after losing so much blood. But they said like the second day I looked so much better because I'd obviously got more fluids, and I obviously looked so much better and like felt so much better as well, because I think when you're just like fresh had surgery, you're not going to look great. But it was lovely to have visitors and it was so nice. So in the night, so the day 2 night, I had to buzz the midwives to help with feeding because Heidi was so unsettled all night long, and I still couldn't get up to pick her up to bring her over to me because getting up was so hard, and I had to still support myself everywhere I kind of went. So I still couldn't get up to pick her up and settle her myself. So I buzzed them to, like, I started realising like when I needed to feed her and stuff. So I buzzed them to help me with feeding because I was really scared not only that I'd lose my balance and like not be able to actually hold her to support her and settle her myself, but also we were still trying to establish breastfeeding because she latched on the first time and then wouldn't latch on again, despite the fact that the midwife saying I was doing everything right. She just wasn't loving life. So we had to like hand express, where you basically like squeeze your boob and they get like a syringe and they try and pick up the milk, or like the colostrum at that point. So yeah, that was kind of a process, and doing that at like 3 o'clock in the morning isn't glamorous, but again, like I said, the process really isn't glamorous, so don't think that it will be. You leave your dignity at the door when you go to hospital to give birth, and because my hospital as well is like it's quite a small area, so I knew a few people that worked there, but luckily none of them actually looked after me, because that would have made things worse. Like, at the end of the day, I don't really care who helps me, but I think if you know someone, it just makes it a bit more awkward, doesn't it? But again, the midwives were amazing. The nighttime team were so good and supportive, and really did make sure that you were okay. I think especially when your partner has to leave, like, you rely on people to make sure you're okay, because you need someone to almost ask you, are you okay, before you actually just say, like, I'm not okay. And then that night, I think I still had like the pains in between my shoulders, but they said that's transfer pain. So because I had a section, and obviously across my abdomen, like, I had a lot of pain, I was taking a lot of painkillers to like help that. Your body transfers that pain to between your shoulders as well, which I never knew. But obviously when you're laying in a bed in like one position, and you're trying to turn yourself and stuff, it is really uncomfortable. So I just had to like trying to maneuver myself. So day 3 of week 1, the midwife spoke to the woman that was opposite me that I was sharing a ward with about kind of going home and being discharged. But where they had brought my breakfast in, they had obviously opened the curtain to bring in the breakfast, and they never closed the curtain. So the woman opposite had her curtain closed, and midwife was giving her the talk about going home. And then as the midwife came out of her ward, she obviously saw that my curtain was open, and she said, oh, would you like to go home today as well? And I was like, yeah, like, of course I did, because I just wanted to get home. I knew that like being at home, the worst thing for me is that Rich was able to do all the things I couldn't do, and when he went home from the hospital, I then didn't have that support, so I had to keep asking midwives for stuff. But if Rich had been there, then he would be able to do it. So I said that I obviously wanted to go home. I let Rich know, and he was just so excited. Like, when he got to hospital, he was like, should I start getting everything ready? And I was like, I think it won't be until this afternoon. And obviously they had to do my checks and stuff, but he was just so excited to just get me home. So as soon as he got to hospital, I knew that I hadn't had a shower yet, which was horrendous. So I asked him to bring a towel into hospital so I could have a shower and just get myself ready to go home, because I wanted them to see that I was like ready to go, because I didn't want them to think, oh, you're not gonna be able to go home because you're not quite ready. So I got him to bring a towel, and they said when you have a shower after a section, you have to take like the dressing off, because obviously it's covered up. So they said to do that while she was in the shower. So I did that, and it's like really sticky. So I kind of pulled it off, but it made me go like really faint in the shower. But they had like a little stool thing that you could sit on and just like bring yourself back together. I remember I sat on it because I felt really weird, and then counted to 10, and then I was absolutely fine. I think it was just more obviously the fact that I was like pulling at that area. Like, it wasn't painful, and it was just because it was sticky, you have to like really kind of force it a little bit. So just having like a shower and like washing my hair made me feel like a new person. Like, I felt so much better after that. I then got dressed into like my own comfy clothes after, because I've been in a hospital gown the whole time. I had like really loose pajama bottoms on, and then I just put like an oversized t-shirt on. Again, not glamorous, but you just want to be in like your comfy clothes, but like your own comfy clothes, and even just having them on was just amazing. Like, I just felt so much better. So as they were like doing checks and stuff, Rich went to Asda, because it wasn't that far from the hospital, to like get food and snacks for home, because they tell you to like, you need to eat like a lot, but you need to eat like sugary food as well as like fruit. And I just wanted like nice drinks. And I think Rich just wanted to make sure that like going home was just, I was as good as I could feel. Like, I had all kind of snacks that I'd want at my disposal, and I just felt like amazing. So he went to Asda, and as he was only there for like probably like an hour by the time he got there, did the shopping, came back. He got me like paracetamol, ibuprofen, things like that. And so then he came back, and then it was just waiting for them to actually discharge me. So someone had come over and confirmed I was able to go home. They just needed to like do stuff on the computer to confirm that I can go home. So we had to wait for them to do that. So that was like the longest wait. Basically, you're just waiting for them to do the paperwork. And at about 4:30 p.m. on day 3, I was discharged from hospital, which honestly I thought was amazing, considering I had a C-section. I just presumed I'd be in hospital for like a week. So considering I was only in there for like, I went home on the third day, I thought that was pretty good going, and I just felt like really good in myself anyway. So that really surprised me, but I was so determined to go home that like, I think having that determination to like feel better in yourself makes you feel better. Like, yeah, it was so good. So we then got McDonald's on the way home because you just needed it. And it was so amazing, like having her in the car seat. I sat in the back, and I have done so throughout this whole time to make sure that she's been okay. Obviously, I couldn't drive. So obviously Rich was driving anyway. But it was just amazing to be in the car, going home, feeling so amazing. But upon being discharged, they give you like prescriptions and things you need to take. So I had to take paracetamol and ibuprofen every 3 hours. I had to take iron morning and night, and then I also had Clexane injections, I think it's called, that is like blood thinning injections, because after you have a C-section or any operation, I think that they give you those to make sure that your body doesn't clot. So I would never have given them to myself. So Rich actually did those injections to me like every morning for the next 8 days, because I had them for the first 2 days I was in hospital, and you need them over 10 days. So Rich was going to do that. However, that night was so hard with her because she didn't sleep at all, and looking back, I think it's just like she was so hungry, but I was only hand expressing at that point. So like you're hand expressing, you're not getting that much out, like you can't empty your breast by like hand expressing, but she just would not latch onto the boob. They did let you know before you left the hospital that you could stay in to get like breastfeeding support and like more advice and help you latch on, but honestly, like I just wanted to go home. So I was happy with expressing, but that night was really hard because as soon as she was demanding food, I was trying to express and I wasn't getting enough. And I think when you can hear her crying, you get frustrated that you're not getting enough, it really affects your milk supply. So that was really hard. Kind of looking back, that first night was just like, just so difficult, and we had to give that to her in a bottle, whereas in the hospital they could like syringe it in her mouth. So that was a learning curve. But day 4, the midwife came over in the morning, because they always check you like the day after you leave hospital. So they checked me, they checked Heidi was okay, and all was absolutely good. They also check like your breastfeeding scar, your C-section scar. And at that point I still had like the styrene strip things on it, and she just advised that you need to like take them off. So later that day I actually like had a shower, soaked them, and then Rich pulled them off again because I didn't want to do it. And I told her about the night that we had, the fact that I think she wasn't feeding enough, and I had bought a double breast pump, electric one, and she just advised to just start using it. I wasn't sure because I didn't know if it would like work properly. I know that's silly like looking back, but she just advised to just start using it, and trust me, that was life-saving. Like if you are expressing or plan to express, or you can't breastfeed and you need to express, get yourself a double electric breast pump. They are revolutionary. And as soon as I expressed the first time, I think I got like 90 millilitres, which is about like 1.5 ounces of like colostrum stuff, which was amazing because before she was having like 1 or 2 like millilitres, and it was just crazy. So honestly, just such a huge relief, because then she slept better that night because she had obviously fed a lot better. And then we could start establishing a bit of a feeding routine, but then it is still slightly on demand, because if she was breastfeeding, as soon as they asked for food, like you would just latch them on and let them have it. So it was just the best thing. So if you don't have a double electric breast pump, but you think that you might want to express, or you're having the same problem where they're not latching on, get yourself one. It's amazing. Obviously, by being home, we had so many visitors. It was like a revolving door, like people coming in, which was amazing. And I liked seeing people because it made it more real, and the fact that she was here and people got to meet her was like the best thing, and I wouldn't change it. But sometimes you just needed like 5 minutes to just be like, oh. And obviously because I was trying to establish like my routine with expressing and stuff, that took a bit of a learning curve. But yeah, expect lots of visitors if you haven't already. And so in day 5, she only woke up once in the night, which was amazing considering the night before she hadn't slept at all. We had to go to the hospital on the morning of day 5 because they took baby's blood from the cord when she was born, and then they also took it when she was in hospital to check her platelet levels because mine was so low throughout pregnancy. They wanted to check that she didn't have what I had basically. And so we went to hospital. They basically took more blood from her. I think they did like a full blood count, and then we could go home. And then we got a call later that day to say that there was like no anomalies or whatever with her blood. It was all good, which was amazing because that was my worry, that I had this like weird blood thing that I didn't even know what it was and ordered the doctors, and I was so worried I was going to pass it on to her. And then when I had the midwife appointment the day before, she asked if there was anything for me that I was like struggling with, and I kind of said no, not really. The only thing is that when I was pregnant, I think I mentioned this in my last couple of pregnancy updates, that I had such unbearably itchy skin that it was like, it started with my stretch marks on my belly, but it then went down to my legs and everywhere. So I let the midwife know, and she just said to make a GP appointment because it might be like a skin condition. So I made an appointment with a GP, and they gave me like antihistamines to take because it was basically like stress induced. It wasn't eczema, it was like the other skin condition. I cannot remember what it was called because it was like dermo something. But she just said it was kind of normal because it was just triggered by stress, which would make sense because I was so anxious and stressed the last 2 weeks of pregnancy. As soon as I finished work and started maternity leave, I was so nervous for giving birth. So it's no surprise that I kind of came up in that. But she gave me 2 lots of tablets, one to take daily, one to take as and when I needed. But to be honest, like even now, I don't even really take them because I don't need to. It just flared up, I think, because I was stressed, but it definitely helped those first initial days because it was so painful, so itchy, that it definitely took the edge off, and it definitely helped, and it just basically took it away, which was amazing. And then again, lots of visitors on day 5. It's a bit of a running theme. You're going to get lots of people visiting you. And then on day 6, the midwife came over again in the morning because they come over like, I think, day 1 after being discharged, and day 5 and day 10, I think. So on day 5, they took the blood from the baby, and they just do like checks, or they do like the blood spot checks so that they send it off to like check for like cystic fibrosis and stuff, which was fine. She, to be honest, was unaffected by the fact that she had like a heel prick thing. Obviously, as soon as it went in, she was a bit like, oh, what's that? And then she was absolutely fine, which was amazing. And they said that when they weighed her, they'd expect her to lose about 10% body weight. Because she was 9 pound free, she said, don't worry if it's more than that. She's a big baby, so like to lose a bit more isn't unheard of, so don't panic. But she'd only lost about 5% of her body weight, which they said is amazing and was like an indication that she was feeding really, really well, which was great for us to hear because we were so worried about the feeding routine. We wasn't sure how well that was going, but knowing that I was expressing quite a lot, especially compared to how I was hand expressing with a double pump, it was just good to know that she was getting enough food. So that was amazing. And then on day 7, we didn't actually have any visitors, and we didn't have any midwife appointments. So me and Rich kept this like as a lazy free day. We just wanted to just chill out. We had had the most intense week of our lives, so it was just really nice to just chill out and just not do a thing. So we lived on the sofa, which was so good. We then booked to register her as well. So when you leave the hospital, they give you like information about registering them because you need to do that, I think, within like the first 42 days or something. But with it being so close to Christmas, because she was born on the 7th of December, we wanted to make sure it was done before Christmas so that it was just another thing kind of ticked off the list. So we made an appointment for the day after, and we just spent the rest of the day just chilling out. And then in the night time, she woke up at 2:30, and then she woke up again at 7, which wasn't too bad considering the night we had had with the first day. And then I'm just going to mention this because it's like day 8, but technically it was like the 14th, which is actually like the 7th day, if that makes sense. We then registered her, which was the weirdest thing, like it makes it so official. And I didn't realise as well, until you register them, the mum has like complete control and like has all the rights to the baby, but as soon as you put obviously the dad on the birth certificate, they then acquire rights through that, which I don't know, I just didn't know that that was a thing, which of course like Rich was on the birth certificate because he is her dad, but I just didn't realise that like so much rode on that. So her first name is Heidi, and Rich decided the middle name, which was a kind of tribute to his mum, which is Carol Ann. So yeah, her name is Heidi. I'm doing really well. Keeping up with the medication is so important. Having pain relief like paracetamol and ibuprofen is so needed because I still get like pains and stuff, but I find that like having a shower daily and stuff is quite good. Like the heat helps my body kind of, if my shoulders are still hurting, and your boobs hurt as well when you're expressing or breastfeeding, so having a shower, like a hot shower, was so good to like, it just relieves all of that pain. So I'd recommend like you have a shower every morning where you can. Rich has obviously been off, and it's been amazing because he's been so amazing with her. I didn't think it was possible to like love him anymore, but the way that he is with her is just so special, and it's just like so amazing. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm doing and we're doing after the first week, which is crazy to even think that she's, you know, that was how the first week went. But I'm gonna still film I've got like my 2-week postpartum update, 3-week and 4-week, and then I will continue to do them monthly, I think, if you guys want to see those, to see how she's getting on. Let me know how you guys would rather that be, and if there's any particular videos you'd like me to film while she's still kind of newborn, or if there's any videos you want me to film over the next couple of months, let me know, and I'll definitely kind of get onto that. But other than that, that's kind of how I've been a week after having her, and it's the biggest relief. Like, I've not had any teary days or overwhelming days, because I think the relief of her being here is so much more than my fear of like doing something wrong. And we just take it one step at a time. Me and Rich are actually quite chilled out, I think, and I think that reflects in our parenting style, in terms of we're not getting too stressed out, we're not getting too frustrated, we just realise that we need to do this one step at a time. And you know what, sometimes we're kind of making it up as we go along, but as long as she's kind of putting on weight and she's happy and she's healthy, you know, that's all you can really do. So yeah, that's kind of how it's been. You don't get a lot of sleep, you have a lot of visitors, and it's the most crazy whirlwind first week, but I wouldn't change it for the world. So I hope you guys are doing amazing if you are 1 week postpartum too, or if you've just had a baby and you're looking to see what the first week is like. Just make sure that you stock up on loads of sugary foods. Like the midwife said to me, I got loads of fruit, and she was like, yeah, fruit's fine, but you need sugar. And so I was like, okay, doctor's orders. So I've been eating like loads of like snacky things, which is great, because when I was like a week postpartum, it was like the lead up to Christmas, so we had loads of like chocolatey stuff, so I could just like munch on those. But yeah, that's how I've been doing, that's how we've been doing. And if you have any questions, leave them down below, I'll definitely answer them for you. I feel like I probably missed out so much. My baby brain is real, but I wouldn't change it for the world. It's just so amazing her being here. And yeah, I think it's time that I go and feed her. So I'm going to wrap up this video. Give it a thumbs up if you've enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy postpartum updates, and ring the bell as well if you want to be notified on my next videos, which will continue to be postpartum updates, as well as any other videos you guys want to see. So I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.